All right, guys, so this is a pre-video to the video that I was trying to post. And I screwed up, and I did not check something. In the video that you're going to see, I've got the meter sitting at an angle where you can't read it, and I never checked that, and I certainly apologize. So I'm going to do you're going to get some double information here. I'm going to put this, I want to show you guys how to check continuity. Put the meter, if you've got a multimeter, put it on an ohm setting. This particular one has 3 or 4 different values of ohms. And you should get some kind of reading. This one, in this setting, it says 0L. Yeah, and you guys can see that. You won't be able to see it in a minute. And I've got 2 leads. Black comes out, circles around, red circles around this way. And right now we're not getting, it's an open circuit because we don't have a completed loop. And as soon as I touch these, you should hopefully be seeing that the meter gets some kind of reading. Now that's telling me that now we have completed the circle and everything is touching and is making a cycle through it. And in the video that you're going to see, that's what I'm checking. That's what I'm looking for. But unfortunately, I've got the meter set at an angle where the glare from the lighting in here, you can't see the screen. And I certainly do apologize. So anyway, enjoy the video. Please leave me a comment at the end. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I am going through some parts and pieces for the next build I want to start. And I'm just kind of making sure things work and so forth so that the video will go smoothly. And one of the things I checked out today was the on-off, run and off switch on this handlebars. And this doesn't seem to be working correctly. Hopefully I'm in camera. This doesn't seem to be working correctly. And I thought, well, why not? Let's just do a video on, see if we can fix it. I have personally never had one of these apart. This particular handlebar is off a 1977 CT70. I typically don't work on that new of bikes. I do the K0s, the K1s, that sort of thing that don't have this. So I'm not 100% familiar with how to get this apart, but we're going to see if we can figure it out. So before we take it apart, let's kind of explain the way it works. This on-off, I'm just going to call it an on-off switch, run, off, whatever you want to call it. Basically has 3 settings. It is run in the middle, and then you can either turn it left one, and you can feel the little indent. It is off, left and right, and run in the center. And it feeds a wire down through the handlebars, and then it comes out. And there's 2 wires. And essentially all it does is ground out the ignition. So the green wire just goes straight to ground to the bike, and then the black and white wire goes to the coil or to the ignition. And when you put it in the run position, these 2 wires are separated from each other, so you're not grounding, not making a loop. And then the off position, now you've connected these 2 wires and it grounds out the ignition. To kind of explain that a little bit, I've got a multimeter here, and I'm going to put it on ohms. And I've got 2 leads. I've got a black lead and a red lead. And when this thing in this setting, when it has 0L or OL, that means there's no connection. It's not reading anything. But as soon as I touch these 2 and complete this circle, we should see a reading. Hopefully you guys can see that on the meter. Pull it apart, it goes away. Put them together, we get a little bit of a reading. Okay. The same thing should happen with this handlebar switch. In the run position, I would expect not to have a reading, just like we do there. So we're not grounding anything out. But as soon as I flip this one way or the other, we should get a reading like it's grounding the ignition out, and it's not. We're not doing anything. So this switch does not work. I hope all that makes sense, and I hope you're in camera view to be able to see all that. So I'm going to attempt to do this without pulling this out of the handlebars because I don't really want to pull the wiring up out of the handlebars. So inside, I went ahead and taken the two screws. Do you see that little silver E-clip or C-clip right there? I think if I can pull that off, then that post of this red button should pull straight up out of there. Now, as you can see, this button is not, well, I'm kicking you. I am so sorry. Kicking the stand here. It's not in real good shape to begin with. It's brittle. It's got pieces broken off. So I'm going to be honest. I'm not real confident that I'm going to save this because I may break it trying to take it apart. So what I've got to do is try and get that little clip off of there. Getting it off, it will probably be the easy part. Putting that little rascal back in there is probably where we're going to have some trouble. But we're not going to worry about putting it back in there until we know we have the switch working. All right, you probably are not seeing much, but I did get it off. Oh boy. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect, and we dropped the ball bearing. We've got some kind of little spring here. It doesn't particularly look like it's in the right spot. I'm not sure maybe it is. No, okay. That little spring, looks like we're missing something. Maybe it's underneath that spring. I think this is similar to the high-low headlight switch on a K0. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we've got this little brass or copper piece, and it was stuck. It and the spring were over in this little indented part here, and I think it's supposed to be here in the middle. And as you turn this, it makes connection between different posts here. So let's see if all right. I'm not sure if you guys are in view. I really need to have my other, not the alligator clip, but the little pointers on here. Yeah. Okay. So you've got 3 pins. I put a clip on the middle one, and then when I touch either one of the side ones, well, it did it a second ago. Stay on there. I got too many, I don't have enough hands. Stay on there. You stayed a second ago. Yeah, now see when I touch that other little post, we get a reading. Let's see if I can sneak in here and touch this one. Yeah, there we go. So, what happened was somehow the little ball bearing, the spring, oh, don't lose the bearing. little ball. All of that popped up out of where it's supposed to be. And so as you turn this little piece here wasn't being turned and making, I think in the run position, it must just sit right on top of that center post. And that's all it touches. Here, let me clip it onto here. Okay, so I've got that little piece clipped in there, and I think in the run position, it just sits on top of that middle one and doesn't touch the other two. And then as you turn it left or right, it slides over and touches both of them and makes the connection to ground out the ignition. All right, so what order does that go in? It would make sense that the ball... All right, I got to think about this for a second. Okay. I think this just sits in here, the little brass piece just sits in there by itself. I don't... Nope. You know what? Use my alligator clip again. Nope. You know what? I think it's been squeezed closed just a tad bit. From getting dislodged and being turned in there. It sure looks like it is meant to go down in this spot right here. All right, I got to get some, got to get a little pair of needle nose, and I think I need to open this up some more. Get in there. So close. Oh, shoot, I had it. You know, oh, I didn't. You know what? I just now realized there are two springs. Okay, so that makes sense. So there is one spring that fits. Wow, this is going to be a trick to put back together. So there's one spring that fits in there that pushes, keeps pressure on the little brass piece. There. And then, so I've got the spring in there. Yeah, this needs to be opened up. I'm going to shut you down for a minute. I'm not going to do anything off camera other than I need to spread this apart just a little bit. So hang on just a second. Let me go get a couple tools. Okay, I used a couple pair of needle nose, and hopefully I have spread that apart. Yeah, fits in there much better. Much better. So that sits in there like that, and the spring is going to keep pressure on those pins, but allow that to move in and out. Okay, so then the other spring, there's a hole. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a round hole right here that I'm assuming the other spring goes in. And it would make sense that the ball sits on top of that. Right? I wonder if I've got the springs in the wrong spot. That ball, the spring is not long enough. Hang on a second. We're gonna swap these springs out. I'm gonna put the shorter spring over here. Wow, this stuff is tiny. Tiny, tiny. I am so sorry if you can't see a thing I'm doing. It takes 10 times more effort while you're filming, you know, because you're trying to get it done in a timely manner, so I'm not boring you guys. Now I got it stuck on the end of the damn. All right, let's skip that one for a second. I want to see if this is this spring. This one looks like it's really sprung. How in the world am I going to get all that back together, guys? Yeah, I think that will work. I think that spring sits down in that hole and the bearing sits on top of it. And as it skips over these little cutout spots here, that's the ratcheting mechanism. Okay. One spring is much smaller diameter than the other. Come on. I think maybe now we might have had it right the first time. Go with that anyway. Okay, got that. That doesn't seem to have any, the ball just sits down in there though. It doesn't seem to have any spring-loaded. But I can't seem to get this spring in. It's too big a diameter to fit. Sorry if I'm boring you. You can fast forward here and hopefully I'll have it together. But, you know, I think it was this spring that was the one. I guess I should probably go back and look at the video. This looks like the spring that was stuck. Crap, I had it and pulled it back out. This looks like the spring that was on the outside over here in this little slot when we pulled it apart, which would make sense. All right. We're going to go with this. We'll see how it works. if we can even get the thing back together, because we got to get this compressed and put that little C-clip back in there. All right, so I've got that back in there. Nope, dropped the bearing. Hang on a second. Yeah, okay. Now, how in the world are we going to get that C-clip back in there? I may have to wind up pulling that all out. I may have to pull it out of the handlebars to have enough to do all that. There's no way in hell I'm going to get that in there. How did they do some of this stuff? It's amazing to me. Holy cow. Holy cow, we got it back on there. You probably didn't see any of that, but I finagled it around and got it. So now, yeah, it does seem to, it has, the little bearing seems to be working. Now, here's the trick. Did we get it to do anything? Let's put it, the meter on ohms. What have we got here? So we touch them. Our meter works. Nope, that's the brake wires. We want these. All right, so it is in the run position now. So we should not get a reading. We don't have a reading. All right, keep your fingers crossed. I probably should have, while I had it apart, I wasn't thinking. I was so concerned about getting it apart and putting it back together, but we probably should take some sandpaper or something and clean the contacts. Ah, look at that. It works. See, in the run position, I've got an open circuit. So the bike will run. Turn it one way to off, and now we've completed the loop, and it will ground out the ignition and the bike will die. Go the other direction, the other off, we've got the same thing. So we saved that switch. Like I said, it's pretty fragile looking. I don't know for how long it will work, but and how in the world that ever got enough play for that to jump up out of there. But for today, it works, and that's if you need to, if you have one that doesn't, you might check that out. I'm not going to lie, that's kind of a bear to get that little C-clip back on there. I think I just got really lucky. My screwdriver was magnetized enough to be able to hold it in place, and then got it to pop on there, so. All right. Well, guys, thanks for hanging in there with me and getting that fixed. This set of handlebars will be part of a build we're going to start here in the next week or so. I've got, before we get started on the build, I want to do some more electrical videos so that you guys kind of understand what we're doing electrically with wiring harness and some of the switches and so forth. But for today, we wanted to repair that run and off switch, and for the duration of this video, it's working, and I'm going to call that a win. So if it quits tomorrow, oh well. But for right now, it seems to have worked. Guys, thanks for following along, and I will see you in a few days on another video. Please help me grow the channel. Hit the subscribe or like and comment. The way YouTube works with their algorithms, the more interaction that you have, the more comments you guys leave, thumbs up, the likes, whatever, that kind of helps YouTube recognize that it's a channel maybe others might want to see, and then it starts popping up in suggested videos and that sort of thing. And that's how all this stuff grows, is through the suggested videos. As you're scrolling through YouTube, maybe one of these will pop up. So anyway, if you want to help out, that's how you can help out the most. So guys, thanks again. We'll see you on the next video.